That I'd like to invite Sheikh Shomali for the third in our series. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا وأبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره. In the last two sessions we talked about the philosophical and also spiritual aspects of marriage. There are some other aspects of marriage which can be talked about, but because we try to be brief, so decided to start today with the new section, and that is about spouse selection. What are the criteria that we should take into account for marriage? First of all, I should say that these lectures are inshallah useful for the people who are married and the people who are not married. And if those who are married are here, inshallah will be useful for them, not because they have bad intentions, but because I think everyone should know that what is the significance of marriage, and maybe it would be useful for himself or for other people to give advice, or for the children that they have. But specifically, the things that we say tonight about the qualities that we should look for before marriage, I hope those who have already married don't that much think about these things. Because this is before getting married. After you got married, you are committed and you must be loyal. So this is very important. And we should always know that whatever we do, we can never find someone who is perfect. Because first, there is no perfect human being except ma'sumin. And second, if there is a perfect human being, we are not perfect to be able to live with them. So a person who is not perfect, if lives with someone who is perfect, maybe finds lots of difficulties. So, having said that, let's see what are the things which we can understand from Quran and Sunnah, and from also experiences of the people who have been through this marriage. I think the most important thing are two things. I will mention actually about maybe 8 different things, but the most important thing I think are two things which are very fundamental. One is to have common understanding about the significance of marriage, family life, and more generally shared understanding of why we are at all living. What is the aim and purpose of life? I think this is very important, because everything else would somehow be influenced by this. Why we are living? What is the aim for life? Are we living for just having some kind of pleasure? Are we living for just to earn money and just make money? Are we living just to have children and make ourselves busy with the children and then grandchildren? Are we living and forming family because everyone says that you must get married? Why we are at all, trying to get married, and what is the outlook that we have towards life generally? And I think if two people share the same understanding or somehow similar understanding of the whole purpose of life, then the rest can be coordinated, can be sorted out. Because then everything else would be put in its proper place. But if people have two different worldviews, although they may be both Muslims, I'm not talking about someone being Muslim, someone being Hindu. No, even two people who are Muslim, but still you find that people have different outlooks. For some people, faith is a very important issue. For some people, faith is very marginal issue. It's not that important. For some people, for example, education, knowledge is very important. For some people, it's not important. There are many, many things. So, first, having similar outlook to life is very important. And this is exactly where we need to have some kind of talk and conversation before marriage. The people who want to get married should have some time for conversation, for discussion, and everyone must be honest, because that discussion is very important. We don't want just to exchange nice things and hear nice things. Everyone must honestly say that what is the way that I look at life, the other person would say, and then find, would they be able to agree on this or not? If two people totally disagree before marriage, it would be much more difficult to come to agreement after marriage. About minor issues would be possible. But major issues, it's very difficult. Someone who has lived already maybe 25, 30 years, with some kind of outlook, just after marriage to be changed. This is very difficult. So it's better in the beginning not to take any risk and honestly talk to each other and say what are the most important things for me, what are the most important things for the other party. And if we see that we reasonably share, then we can proceed. The second thing is piety. I think two people who are pious will never reach a situation in which they find no answer, they find no solution. If really piety is there, piety in its comprehensive concept, not just to say I follow Risale or I follow, for example, the legal aspect of Islam. No, if two people really are looking for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so even if they disagree, because they are not selfish and they are looking for the pleasure of Allah, so they go and consult someone that they both trust and say, okay, because we are all involved in this problem and everyone maybe look to the problem from his or her own perspective, so you please tell us what you think would be the thing that Allah is pleased with, and we both will follow. So if piety is there and people are not selfish and self-oriented and worshipping their own ego, I don't think there would be any situation which cannot be solved. So if we find a pious partner, I think most of the problems will be solved.